her to win the White House, but do you agree with how she performed in that interview?
I believe that interview was a masterclass in why there is a statistically significant amount of black men who are tired of listening to the media and done entertaining the Democratic Party. You listen to Kamala Harris talk about a plan for black America. They've rolled out a plan for black America. My grandfather told me a very long time ago, never trust a man who promises to do tomorrow what they had the power to do yesterday. If Kamala Harris was so committed to these plans for black men in particular, she's had many instances where she could have done these things as a senator, as an attorney general, and certainly in her capacity as a vice president. So I do believe that when you have that type of interview talking about a multi-trillion-dollar plan for reparations, all while we ignore the fact that California has already studied reparations, only for the Democrats that said they were committed to passing it to saying everyone actually going to write the check, black men are tired of what appears to be empty promises coming from a Democratic Party.
I mean, Joe, if you're honest with yourself, I'm sure there's some times where you would appreciate if your candidate would be more, quote unquote, scripted.
Look, I think there's a few things happening here, right? I've said it many times on this network. Vice President Kamala Harris, she wants to have her Kate and Edith too. She wants to have all the good things that come from the Biden administration. She wants to leave all the baggage of the Biden administration behind her. I think if you're just looking at the core issues pertaining to the black community, the civil rights issue of our time is education. Democrats have nominated a woman who is against school choice. They have a vice presidential candidate who is against school choice. And you have the gatekeeper for a large voter bloc that didn't ask any real questions about the civil rights issue of our time. To say that we have schools where 80% of black children cannot read at proficient levels all across this country. And so it is a scourge that is preventing black men from getting the tools they need in their young life to move forward. And I think if there are a lot of black people who are saying Democrats have told us that Donald Trump is terrible, but I'm not going to allow my vote to be taken hostage by a party that continues to not deliver results every time I place my trust in their hands.
He did have a record low for black
unemployment.
Yeah,
I would just simply say that to that point, right? I think we have to dispense with some of the talking points here. Certainly, there is a fair way to interpret it and to interpret facts, irrespective of whether you're a Republican or Democrat. The fact remains, pre-COVID, we had 7 million new jobs created. We had record low unemployment for black Americans. And I think even if you move beyond, all the conjecture, when you look at what black men are really moved by, they're moved by the fact that the Democratic Party is not actually treating them fairly. That you had the only black Republican man in the Senate who ran for president being called the equivalent of a slave that Harriet Tubman should have left behind. And no one lost their job and not a single person was fired. And so I appreciate that Sherwin says that it's good to live in America where black men can voice their opinion independent of somebody telling them how to do so. But it is quite clear that from many people on the cable news that they have been given license to talk crazy and out of their neck about black men who are not interested in voting for Kamala Harris. And I think, unfortunately, for not just the Democratic Party, but America, those chickens might come home to roost on November 4th.
All right, Joe,